Hello, everyone. This is Funemployment Radio. I'm Greg Nibbler here with myself once again because Sarah X. Dillon is out today. Thank you all, wherever and however you're listening. We do appreciate it. But this is a special episode because it's an interview that I had with Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly is a very impressive person. He's got 2 degrees and a master's in Homeland Security. We talk about that as we go on. And even as I mentioned, obviously very funny degree right there, but no, what he's done is incredible. And if you know this show, you know that we love messing with spammers, the Romancing the Spammer series that we did, and I've made it a hobby of doing that throughout my life. Well, he's done that turned that almost into a career, and on top of that, he's a comedian. And so we talk about his background, how he got into comedy, and a whole bunch of stuff. And he's a really great guy. So really appreciated him joining us today. So that's what this is. I'm going to be playing that interview here in just a moment. Of note, this is the last show for the week, and I apologize because I'm out tomorrow because I'm going to be at the International Auto Show, which is going to be interesting because, if you know me, I don't know a lot about how cars work. So I'm not going to be asking a lot of questions about carburetors, or I don't think they have carburetors anymore, but I will be out there filming some things. So that's what's going to be happening tomorrow, but I'll make sure to post some stuff. And then we're back in full action next week. Although I will have some more special guest co-hosts line up. I'm a little bit more into now. Sarah is going to be coming back, so she will be back to the show. So don't worry about that part. But in the meantime, here we go. Let's listen to Ryan Kelly. Ryan, I have to say, I've interviewed hundreds of people here for this show, maybe thousands, but your background is hands down one of the most interesting I have ever read for a comedian because it doesn't really make sense in the aspect of traditionally what you do or what you got your degree in normally isn't like a funny thing, but you have somehow made this combo. And I wonder, just for everybody who's just getting familiar here, if they're not familiar, can you give just a quick background on this degree that you had and how you got into comedy from there?
Yeah, I can totally agree. It makes absolutely no sense. Parents are equally as confused. I have 2 bachelor's degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in international relations and a bachelor's degree in business with marketing, and then I have my master's degree in MBA with a concentration in Homeland Security. And naturally, I became a stand-up comedian, and that is the job that pays my bills. And I also do completely pro bono. I hunt scammers. So that is, yeah, that's somehow a series of events that I still don't quite understand myself.
Yeah, but I mean, it all came together and worked out. And I do have to say, just on this show, we have had a history of also messing with spammers, not to your degree, but years ago we had an album called "Romancing the Spammer," in which it was a series of like 26 letters that I went back and forth. I played this elderly gentleman who was very wealthy, just looping in this scammer and got them going for a long time until finally at the I Proposed tour, it was a whole thing. And she accepted. And then finally at the end, she just said, fuck you. And then that was the end of the series. But you have been able I guess, go after spammers in a way that I haven't really seen before. And I guess to start off, can you talk about that? Like, what made you want to do this in the first place?
I mean, totally honestly, what made me want to do it is I got scammed. I was moving back from Los Angeles back to where I am in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm originally from. And I was looking to get my car shipped because it's an older car and I didn't think it was going to make it. And that's can be a lot on it. So I'm trying to go through this and I lost $712.50. And I was like, no. But because I'm a stand-up comedian and that's like my job, I was like, I got a lot of free time.
Right.
And with my master's degree, I was kind of like, I understood the basics of cyber and kind of understood how like money, like laundering and things like that worked. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I can probably figure this out. And by the end of the first day, I had their home address, driver's license. I had like the people that were involved with it. And so I called their local FBI office to report it. And it's funny, I explained it to the local FBI guy, and he goes, dude, I just got scammed that way too. And I was like, that is not encouraging at all. But yeah, after that, I just then kept going into it. A whole bunch of people saw the videos. Then someone
Uh-huh.
tried to scam my 79-year-old Aunt Anne. And I was like, game on. And
Yeah.
so since then, I've gotten over 4,000 submissions of people having me take a crack at scams and things like that. And yeah, through some of the technical stuff that I was able to either know or teach myself later, it made it really fun to be able to essentially get into their accounts or figure out their locations or use ad data. I mean, your phone sells so much of your data, which most of the time people can't afford to like buy and go mess with people. Thankfully, there was a company that reached out to me that was like, "Hey, do you just want to? We do ad data. Do you want to have some fun?" And I was like, "Yes." And so, I mean,
Absolutely.
and it's crazy what you can see. I mean, for one guy, I could tell him where he went to work. I could tell him where he stopped at the grocery store, and then I could tell him which side of the room his computer was on.
Well,
Like he was not having a great day. But yeah, and so really, a lot of these guys, sometimes it's really hard to get them like either prosecuted, convicted, whatever. So a
right.
lot of the things that I like to do is just freak them out because,
Yeah.
if you can make them quit, that works too. So
Right.
that's good a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah,
It's some modicum of satisfaction at least, just to know that they're nervous as hell somewhere.
absolutely. I feel like that's always thing because being the victim of a scam, everybody feels
Yeah.
so it feels dumb and feels sad and feels nervous about next time, which is it's never like your fault.
Right.
These people are actually very good at this most of the time, but a lot of it's social engineering. Instead
Yeah.
of like everybody acts like these guys are hackers, they're not. They're just guys that have, in the most case, that just will talk to you and they will talk you out of your money.
Right.
The
And
modern day
they are
con.
very good at it. They're very good
Yeah.
at doing that. I mean, and some of the things too, just on that side as well, on the tech side, I used to be a tech reporter as well. So
Oh,
uh
perfect.
yeah, so when it comes to that, the cybersecurity side, they have adapted so well, but also some of the newer scams that are out there too. There's a lot of the job ones that are happening now. Like, do you keep up on all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, well, so I see so many that come
Yeah.
through that it kind of forces me to keep up to date with it. But man, yeah, no, the change in it is so strange because obviously there's like classic romance scams, but and
Right.
like pig butchering scams, things like that. But man, you get into like job scams and they're like trolling LinkedIn and Indeed. For me, it's the
Yep.
crazy ones where they're cloning emails from companies and then pretending to be the bosses and then like trying to get like people that are under them to do things. I mean, they're getting really, really capable of being able to like fish out money. It's impressive in a really sad kind of way.
Right. Right. But I mean, yeah, it really is. But combine in with AI and Chat GPT and all that stuff, so they don't seem as,
Yeah,
as off as they used to.
because
Yes.
they can get those translations that seem
Right.
very human. Very yeah, and that's what you were always looking for is. And don't get me wrong, I still see a lot of the really funny ones that are just like, man, this
Yeah.
is not even close. But
Right.
it is true that technology is just becoming so easy for everyone to use that yeah, they're getting
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's fascinating stuff. So I could talk to you about that for an hour, but let's talk about comedy. So let's
Sounds good. Yeah.
switching gears. So you mentioned you had all this. You end up getting into comedy, or deciding that that's what you want to do. So how did that transition happen? Like, where was that moment where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I have my international, business degree, international relations, my business degree, Homeland Security, comedy.
Weirdly enough, I had actually started doing like improv comedy since I was very young. And I did that in high school. For some reason, my high school had a team for improv, which was awesome. And I got to perform at that. And the teacher was taught by like Del Close and Sharna Halpern. So it was like,
Nice.
it was some of that like original improv stuff. And it was very fun. Uh, and I started doing stand up when I was in college just because it was the only thing that like, you could do solo. And I really enjoyed it. And I kept doing that. And it was actually, I got my master's degree because I moved out to LA. I was looking to pursue certain things like stand up and kind of that whole rigmarole. But I was working as a personal assistant, and that was a nightmare. So quit that job, started working accounting for Warner Brothers. They're for some reason like everybody's like, oh, that had to be a really boring job. That was the best job like I'd ever had employed wise. Was like
Doing
was it was
accounting for Warner Brothers?
yeah, I did accounting. I was an accounting clerk on the movie Rampage. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah, is that's the the one off the video game with The Rock? Is that
Yes,
yeah.
and it was such a weird movie, but so much fun because I just got to like hang out with little houses, do the accounting stuff, and I actually really enjoyed it. But when the movie ends, the job ends. And so I was like,
Right.
I need something more consistent. So I started working at Disneyland, as all these characters and things like that. And Disney would pay for your education 100%. And so I was like, fine, I'll do that. So that's when I got my master's degree because I was like, oh, if they'll pay for it, I mean,
Why not?
free college sounds awesome. And
Yeah.
so I got all these like, this education, and then social media hit, TikTok specifically. All of a sudden, I had a buddy named Casey Jones who texted me and he goes, "Hey man, I've seen like these videos that you posted because I just didn't have time to get up and do as much stand up. So I'll start posting little clips to like Instagram, but that's for reels, so it wouldn't go anywhere." And then he was like, "I think TikTok might do really well for you." And I was like, "Never heard of it. Sounds dumb. Like like discount Vine. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere."
Right.
I posted my first video. It got 25,000 views, which is more views than I've ever gotten on anything in my entire life up to that point. And I was like, he might have a point. And so I kept going, and now
Yeah.
got really lucky. And obviously the landscape of social media has changed to much more of a video format, which much benefits me, which I'm really thankful for.
Right.
And since then, yeah, it's just been, I've done one comedy special that's out currently called Girlfriends and Girlfriends, and I got a second one that we've recorded and edited, and we're just looking for a release date at the moment. It's uh it's been really fun. It's been a real fun journey that's, dipped into a lot of different, hanging out with other social media creators, or dipping back into like the cyber side, or it's just nice.
Right. Yeah. And bringing all those worlds together and just being able to do that. And I think, when it comes to performing in front of an audience, you have this, like you mentioned, you have the special out, you've got the other one that's going to be coming out. Like, what is it that draws you to that interactive experience of having people right there?
I, I think that there's that immediate feedback. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think that you can see feedback when it happens online, and you're getting a bunch of views, and then you can see comments and things like that. But there's really something about that physical reaction, and taking an audience on a journey with you. A lot of my stuff is storytelling based,
Right.
and that leans in a lot to like callback jokes and things like that, because you're really getting people. The whole idea is the fact that they're now in on the inside joke that you guys have created in this time together, and it's just really fun to get to play with an audience. And sometimes sometimes it's more improvised when you get to do it quickly, but a lot of the times it's just fun to feel the energy of a crowd and witness who's getting things at what time, and it's just fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And feeling it as they're getting it and understanding,
Yeah.
slowing it up, speeding it up, slowing it down. I would imagine, depending on what's happening with the crowd, like that's got to be an interesting experience. Yeah.
I think it's really fun, and being able to like for me, a lot of my stand up has the ability to pivot into different directions. So if I want different stories, I can just kind of read the room and decide where we're going next. And I
Right.
just think that that's so much fun to be able to be like, okay, let's tailor this to what you want.
Yeah.
And it's always satisfying when it clicks and they're like, I was right with that. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have when you started, and now that obviously you're still in it, but who are your, I guess, comedy icons? Who did you look up to for your comedy?
Oh gosh, definitely Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, he's so good, and he's such a good storyteller and puts jokes in perfectly. And it's just, I remember seeing My Girlfriend's Boyfriend when I was a lot younger, and I was just like, that was a great story, and like the way that he told it. But also the very first guy that I ever saw in a comedy club, it was on my 18th birthday, and I saw Ian Bagg,
Mhm.
and this dude is so good and so fast. Like that always blew my mind at how like the improvisation that he did with it, that was just he's a great crowd work comic, and he's so good.
Right.
So yeah, it was cool to see a whole bunch of different things. But I mean, I think I loved like, watching Gabriel Iglesias play with his voice, watching Bill Burr just take an annoyed response to everything. Like Anthony Jeselnik's ability to like flip things into a darker way. I think that there's so many comedians that have such talent. And sometimes it was in different ways. Watching Melissa McCarthy, who used to be a Groundlings and an improviser, and just watching her like meteoric success, and her ability to just with facial expressions and tone just make you just either love the character or make you laugh. It's so good. Yeah.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, it's seeing somebody's mind work in that way. It is always
Yeah.
it's fascinating, and especially
Yeah.
with the live feedback like that, to be able to switch on a dime and
I
just
think I
work
think
a
it's just
crowd.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brought me a lot of joy. So yeah, I think there's a lot of comedians that do the craft really well that I'm just impressed to watch. And
Yeah.
it's It's been cool. Yeah.
Well, you're one of them as well. I mean, this is pretty impressive, just all this stuff that you've done and just being out there. And let's talk about the special too, because I want to let people know. So you're waiting on a release date. Is that what it is?
Yes, for the second one, which is called How to
Yeah.
Survive Plane Crashes. And
Which again, very funny title.
yeah, a lot of humor. Yeah, I feel like a lot of things in my life have tried to kill me, and so I'm just trying to bounce back. It's weird. I do feel like I've been living Final Destination. I've been I don't know what's going on with that. I ran out of oxygen well like 50 feet underwater in like scuba diving. I've had my parachute not work when I was skydiving. It's been
No.
a yeah. We got
Oh,
both of them on video, by the way. It's weird. But yeah, other than that, so yeah, we are waiting to see when that's gonna release, but it's just been fun. The people that backed it, they ended up getting to see it early, and that were special. Girlfriends and Girlfriends, which was a series of just a whole bunch of dating mistakes, and then realizing that it was like there was the girls that were friends of mine along the way that made it really wonderful. That's that one, and that one's available on Amazon and Spotify. So if you want that, check it out
that's
there.
awesome. So everybody go out there. You can get that one, and then we'll wait for the release date on the How to Survive a Plane Crash. You said Final Destination. Now I'm just picturing a log truck in front of you as you're driving along.
I was literally driving to a college to perform recently,
Yeah.
and there was a log truck in front of me. I thought, nope, nope, I'm not. This is too obvious. Yeah,
Just
you're not
see
gonna
the
get me that
strap
time.
pop off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, well, Ryan, thank you very much, for joining us too. I really appreciate you being here. And I know you've got to get traveling too, so you've got stuff that you got to go to. But thanks for taking some time to talk to us today too. And just really fascinating and just appreciate your humor and really appreciate you taking down spammers too. So I mean, that is something I think everybody can get behind.
I think we have a lot of fun with it, and I'm just glad that if you've got a scam, send it over, and we'll take a crack at it. And thanks so much for having me on Funemployment. This is awesome. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks, Ryan. All right, there we go. Ryan Kelly, like I said, just that was awesome. So really appreciate him joining us here for the show, joining me, since I am Fun Employment Radio now. No, Sarah will be back soon. And don't forget, you can support Fun Employment Radio by joining the Supporters Club. The Fun Employment Radio Supporters Club is the best club to join. That is the one that you want to be in. So become a member today by going to funemploymentradio.com. It's only $6.99 a month. Everything else is way more expensive nowadays. $6.99 a month is a bargain. It's a good deal. And you get to be part of the action. I don't know. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, that's something you can do to help us out. So we appreciate all of you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fun Employment Radio.